Good morning and welcome to our New Year's Day live stream. This is the second annual time that I've gone live here on YouTube, and for the first time, we're here live on Facebook as well. Give me just a second while I get all of my technology working together. I even got brand new pajamas. And the good thing about Christmas pajamas is they were on sale, and I love a good sale. I'm super excited to be here with you all for our New Year's Day 2024 mantra workshop. And what I want to create today is a mantra to guide me for the year, as well as a set of prayer flags to kind of illustrate and honor that. Good morning and Happy New Year, Judy, Tori, Kim. Thank you so much for joining me live. Super excited to have everyone here, and we'll just chit chat for a couple of minutes while we give people a chance to gather live. And if you did not see the link in the description of the video, both on YouTube and on Facebook, there's a link to download a free workbook. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning from South Carolina. Welcome, welcome. You can download the free workbook, which has some prompts for how to think about, good morning, Margaret. Welcome, welcome. Some prompts for helping you to create a mantra as well as a full supply list. And I am going to go grab that link again, and I'm going to put it right into the comments here on YouTube. Good morning, Nikki. Oh my gosh, you're up so early. Did you actually go to bed last night? Did you stay up till midnight? So the link to download the workbook is in the comments if you're live. Good morning. It says KF, not sure what your name is. Karen, Kim, something wonderful. And happy to see everybody gathering live this morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the mantra piece for a little bit. Hey, Barbara, good morning. Good morning, Kelly. Happy New Year, Kelly from Seattle. We're going to talk about this idea of mantras for just a minute, and then we're going to dive right in. I want most of this workshop today to really be focused on creating these beautiful prayer flags. Oh my gosh, Nikki, that is crazy. Well, I hope you were up having fun. Brad and I were in bed by, 9:30 at our usual time. Staying up late is not my thing. Good morning, Leslie. Welcome, my other night owl in the family. Great to have you guys all here joining me live. So as I was thinking about, good morning, Polly, my end of year reflection and seeing so many people talking about this idea of a word of the year, and I always have a word of the year. I picked one for years. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome. Um, and I thought about how easy it is to create a word of the year, even make a pretty page in my art journal. And then, a couple of months in, that word kind of disappears. So I thought, what could I create that would help me keep it front and center, but would also help me put this idea into action? So if you're not familiar with the concept of a mantra can be a word, a sound, or a phrase that you repeat on a regular basis, very much like prayer flags work. Good morning, Sylvia. Very much like prayer flags work, which I'll talk about in just a second. But I would say a mantra ends up a little bit closer, maybe almost to an affirmation. So it's basically, to me, a word of the year can be very abstract. And what I was looking for was, it didn't have to be concrete, but it needed to be a bigger container for how I want to feel this year. So during the month of December, I did a 21-day self-reflection and intuitive art project. And the more that I dug into that end of year reflection and thinking about going forward and thinking about what do I want to manifest for the year. And one of the things we talked about was, how do you want to feel going into 2024? And so often we get really focused this time of year on what do you want to do or accomplish or have. But what if we led from within instead from that energy of how do I want to feel? And my husband and I were out for a walk a couple of mornings ago, and I've been tossing things around. And the word of the year that popped into my head was light. And the mantra for me from that is I am light. And then I did a mind map because I love mind maps. In fact, I should have brought my journal to show you. I thought about all the different areas of my life where lightness is a good thing. I want to feel lighthearted going into the new year. I want to feel lighter and stronger in my body. I want to be a source of light and inspiration to others. I want to be a channel for light and feel a deeper connection to source, creator, God, spirit, whatever your word is. So ultimately, for me, that mantra simply is I am light. And what I love about mantras is they're short, they're specific. Some mantras, some Sanskrit mantras are very, very long, but I find if they're too long, we lose focus. So I'm curious if any of you have looked at the workbook already and have some ideas about your mantra. You probably already have a word of the year, or maybe you're kicking some things around, but I'd love to see in the chat if you're willing to share anybody that has come up with a mantra for the new year. And if anybody wants any feedback or support or help on their mantra, just ask in the chat. So when I thought about the creative project, and I had shared last week that I was thinking I wanted to do some kind of a scroll book, and what I ended up deciding was that I needed something that was going to be able to hang on the wall here in my studio and be visual enough to remind me. So I love creating prayer flags. And prayer flags stem from traditions in Nepal and Tibet. You've probably seen them hanging in people's yard or pictures of them hanging. And the concept of oh, grateful spirit of peace. Oh, Kathy, that is so beautiful. And so as you guys read other people's mantras, please do share because they're so inspiring and you might get ideas for your own if you haven't come up with one yet. So I decided grateful spirit of peace. And it feels so good to say, Kathy. It feels so good to say. I love that. And prayer flags were thought that every time the wind would blow through the prayer flag, it would send more prayers out into the universe. And I love that. I am peace. Yeah, means being peaceful, positive, inspiring, hopeful, grateful, beautiful, beautiful. Release the outcome, revel in the process. Beautiful. I love that. And I'm wondering if you could simplify that, Carol, simply to revel in the process. Revel in the process because there's so much depth there. I am joy. Watering my soul with joy. Oh, Sylvia, that's really going to guide your creative today with your prayer flags. I love my God, created authentic self, working on self-love rather than, I love my God created authentic self. Beautiful. Working on self-love rather than judgment. Yes, I love that. And I love the honoring God is your creator as well. Catherine Haynes, I am courageous. And sometimes there's a tiny shift we can create in our mantras to make them even more powerful. What if instead you simply said, I am courage? What if your being is all about just being courage rather than courageous, which is an action? So I'll invite you, Catherine, to just sit with that. Good morning, Barbara. Still working on finding the right one. No problem. So I think sometimes we can start with the creative, and the mantra will appear from that. Your word is enlightened. Oh, it's so beautiful. For my life, the world, my family, my art, I am considering be the candle, everything through light, beautiful. Yours is similar to mine. I am light, right? I am light, or be the light, right? I love that. Those are both beautiful. And I love the word enlighten as opposed to enlightenment, right? Because enlighten is the verb, right? It means that you're in action, that you're truly bringing the light. I love everything through light, and I like light because it's in the word enlightened. And I love mantras that are often start with I am. So I don't know. I'm really leaning, Barbara, everything through light, or everything is light, or be the light. What if you wake up every day with that thought of today, I get to be the light? Yes, yeah, we are. We're so similar, Barbara. Such like soul sisters for sure. These are so beautiful, everyone. So, Barbara Arnett, what I encourage you to think about is if there is an area of your life that you want to everything through love. Beautiful. Okay, so I like the repetition, Barbara, everything through love, and this year, everything through light, right? Beautiful. And then maybe next year it's everything through. So there's a beautiful thread there that feels really beautiful. Swamp crone, radical resilience. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. I love that. Oh, from Richard Rohr's themes for 2024 meditations. Yeah, beautiful. Radical resilience. Hi, Pat. Good morning. Good morning. Yours is about abundance, still working on the mantra. Beautiful. I love it. Your word more from rebuild to retrofit. I love that word for you, Margaret. Yeah, bones are sturdy and the systems need work, right? And I love retrofit, freedom. And so, Lissa, I might consider a mantra, I am free, right? Would be the mantra version of the noun freedom. And so, when we live into that mantra of I am free, I am light, I am abundance. Pat, I think about our work around mantras and I am statements that we did with Christine, right? So, so much beautiful, beautiful food for thoughts here. Margaret, yours might simply be I retrofit every area of my life. I retrofit my life, right? And I love that retrofit. Like nothing's wrong. It's all about fine tuning at this point, right? Beautiful. Good morning, Yvonne. Happy New Year. Good morning, Michelle. Free to explore. I have recently retired. 2023 is a year of rediscovery. Lived within the box of, oh, beautiful. I love that. Free to explore, Michelle. Gorgeous, gorgeous. These are so good, you guys. And it's so much fun being here live with you this morning. And in my Christmas pajamas. I got new pajamas for 2024, and that feels exciting. It's fun when you get an excuse to buy more pajamas. Free to be my most authentic self. Yeah, beautiful. Ah, so good. I love everything you wrote, Lissa. So I am free to be my most authentic self. Here lies my power and light to bring healing to this world and myself. And this I will find freedom and abundance. Joy awaits. Yeah. So say more, Barbara, about I am anti-MAME. Is that a positive thing for you? A good thing? Like, is that something that you want to live into the energy of? Then go with it. I love the visual of it. But what does anti-MAME mean to you? And Margaret, there's a little heart over your last over your, oh, I am fit to serve. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, yes, you are fit to serve and fit to receive, my friend, fit to receive as well. Carol, good morning. Good morning. Acutely aware the clock is ticking. I want to engage in life every waking moment versus sitting on the sidelines. Beautiful. I love that. What if it's simply I engage in life in every waking moment, right? I engage or I am present in every moment. I am present in every moment. I want to engage in life every waking moment versus sitting on the sideline. Yeah, I love that. I engage in life, right? And sometimes simply being presence is enough engagement. Yes, Kathy, I love fit to receive. I think we could all adopt that as well. Auntie Mame has always been your hero, Barbara. Brave, courageous, exotic, exciting, and a huge ball of fun. Well, you, my friend, are definitely a huge ball of fun. That's such a fit for you. So go with it. Go with it and embody that and live into it. And by the way, you guys, if you live into a mantra for 30 days and you're like, okay, this isn't getting me where I want to go, or I'm not feeling exactly what I want to feel, then change it. This is not, same with the word of the year. None of this is permanent or forever. This is about what's vitally important to you right now, right here in this very, very moment. All right, these are fantastic. I'm sure we'll keep having more come along the way. Good morning, Kay. Happy New Year. So I would take out the want, Kay, and say, I welcome all things with wisdom, wonder, and gratitude. What a beautiful way to live into the year in that energy of wisdom, wonder, and gratitude. Beautiful. I love it. I welcome all things. And so, what I'm loving about all of these is I can already see visuals around them for your prayer flags. So Barbara Arnett might have a picture of Auntie Mame on one of hers. Um, Polly, both feet. I love that. Can you say more about that? Is like you're stepping forward with both feet from a place of being grounded or curious or being all in. I'm very curious and I love it so much. So, as you think about your mantra, I want you to start to think about some of the images that resonate with you to help illustrate that. Like Barbara Palucci and I both have images of light, right? We both have images of light. And when I think about Kay Veal's wisdom, wonder, and gratitude, commitment, beautiful Polly. I love both feet as very visual, concrete connection to the energy of commitment that's really powerful. And so start to think about images that you might want to add. Think about colors if you haven't picked your colors yet. So this is super, super juicy. And I want to say welcome to anyone that's catching the replay as well. I did have a lot of curiosity and questions about people that couldn't attend live. So if you're catching the replay, welcome. If you want feedback on your mantra, you can also place it in the comments. And over the next couple of days, I will come back and make sure that I answer those and share some feedback in the comments for anyone that watches the replay as well. Or just if you want to share your mantra, it's so inspiring to hear everybody's. Car, oh my gosh, I tend my soul fire. Beautiful, beautiful. Good morning, Judy. Happy, happy New Year. So we're at the moment simply taking a little bit of time to share our chosen mantra for the year or ask for some feedback about that mantra as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera and I want to dive into our creative. So we could just chit chat all day long, but I know you're here to really think about making some prayer flags with me. And before we got on the call, I was playing with making some new stencils. So, in addition to a mantra of the year, I really love having a sacred symbol. I find that when I have something really visual to help me remember better or to help visualize the light. Obviously, I'm thinking about images for light as well. And I pulled out, when I think about I am light, I pulled out one of my favorite stencils. That's this gorgeous sun stencil from a set of sacred symbols by Whitney Freya. You can tell how well loved and used this one is. So this definitely is going to go on there. And I love making my own stencils. If you've never made your own stencils, it's super, super fun. So this is just really thin, sticky backed foam. And then this is a very thick piece of foam. And it's super easy to just peel that paper off of the back of the stencil. And then I'm just going to stick it down on here. And that's fun because it kind of made it a little bit bigger and different. And I want to follow through with my creativity. So again, Judy, take out the want and take ownership and say, I follow through with my creativity, or I have a daily creative practice, or I excel at finishing projects, right? Or I am committed to my creativity. So just a different ways to say it, because I want to put this, excuse me, into the land of Yoda, right? I want to is like I'm trying to, and there is no try, there's only do. So really own your commitment. Own your commitment. I also felt like arrows felt really important to me this morning, and I need a drink of water, so excuse me just a second. The more active that we can be with our mantras, the more we can really feel ourselves embodying the energy, the more powerful they will be. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of these out a little bit later. I am committed to follow through my creativity. Beautiful, Judy. Feel the difference in your body between I want to and the I am committed to. They have a completely different energy. So what I am working on today is some raw canvas, because I had a bunch of scraps of this. I played with gel printing on raw canvas yesterday, and I didn't love how it turned out, but so I have this one little bit larger prayer flag, and then I have four smaller ones. So this one I think ended up being 6 by 8, and these are 4 by 8. So as you start to think about creating your prayer flag, whatever surface that you're creating on is fine. These can be paper, they can be fabric, they could be old book pages. So the substrate isn't that important. The thing to remember is as we start down our creative process is that you're going to leave a couple of inches at the top to make your flap for hanging your prayer flag. So, and that can be, we won't have time to do this live today. For me personally, I'm going to probably just, stitch these on my sewing machine really quickly, and then I'll be able to string them on a piece of ribbon and find a place in my studio to hang them. So as you're thinking about your creative design today, you want to remember that that top 2 inches is going to get folded over. So you don't want to put anything important up there that you want to be able to see. And I'm kind of liking having this one bigger one in the center and these two smaller ones off to the sides. And we're going to start with just getting some layers down. And the way that I love to do that is by getting some words. So I want to put some wordful energy. This is my signature write, paint, reflect process. And you could do this with a pen, with a Sharpie marker, with a Posca, with a pencil. It's all going to get painted over. This is not the final words that might show through at the end, but this is just about activating the energy of our prayer flags. So it can be as simple as writing your mantra a few times. So I might just come in here and I'm going to write big. I've already done a lot of journaling. And I might think about what light means. Light as a feather, light on my feet, light-hearted, keeper of the light. And so just take a few minutes to do a little bit writing on the surfaces of your flags. And I'm going to write with maybe a couple of different things to create just some different texture and layers on each of these. And then we're actually going to work on painting on all 5 of these at the same time, because that will make them feel the same, right? We want them to feel almost as if we were working on a spread in our art journal. We want, when we look at the prayer flags, that they have this feeling. There'll be fine tuning at the end. And for me, it's feeling like I just want to get some marks down on these. So I grabbed an oil pastel. And this is a fun way to just get over that fear of the blank surface here by just simply getting some marks down. It doesn't matter what you write, even if you just repeat your mantra over and over again. No one needs to be able to read it. And I think the more light that I feel in my own spirit, the more I share that light out, and it becomes the light of peace. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not looking forward to going into an election year here in the United States this year. And I'm literally just writing the word light, activating these pages, getting my own handwriting down on the pages. And so I'm going to have to work hard this year to stay in that energy of light. Election years, I tend to go off of social media quite a bit. I will still be here on YouTube, but I definitely won't spend a lot of time in other places. And once I have just a few marks and words down, I'm going to start adding paint. And I'm not going to do this in any special particular way at this stage. I want to just get some paint down. Now, if you're not working with acrylic paint, if you're working with watercolor on paper, I would do the same thing at this stage and keep it pretty abstract. And I still was a little torn, but I think I'm going to go with these three of my favorite colors. Was thinking I wanted that purple. So I've got a yellow, a blue, and a magenta. And I love this turquoisey blue is kind of a blue green. So I have two cool colors and a warm color. And I'm going to start with getting some of this yellow down. And I'm just going to put some little dabs of yellow even on this one, even though this one already has paint, that palette is going to change by the time I'm done. And then either using a brush or a scraper of some sort, we're just going to start moving some of that color around. If you're working on paper with just markers or colored pencils, I would invite you to do the same thing. Just add some scribbles and some color. You can build up layers with any materials that you have on hand. And notice how I'm just going across all 5 of these at once and just activating them with some color. And then I'm going to come in with some of that turquoise blue. Okay, that's coming out. Lots of turquoise blue. And I think I'm going to get a little bit of white on here as well. Maybe we can get some different sort of tones of things going. And this one may actually get another coat of gesso as well. And notice that I'm starting with 2 colors that when they mix together are going to make a nice green. They're not going to make mud. If I came in right away over the top of all of this and added that magenta, I would definitely end up with some mud. So I'm starting with these, and I could have started with the blue and the magenta and ended up with more purples. But as I was thinking about this idea of I am light and what would be the images that would speak to me about this, it has for me always a lot to do with my connection to nature and to sun. All right, so I'm actually really loving how these are coming along already. So notice there's a lot more paint on these, which feels really exactly what I wanted. And I can even push back if I want to see some of those words a little bit. So these two feel like they didn't get quite as much paint. So if you're just joining us, welcome. I know it's early in the morning on New Year's Day, so we did some chit-chatting ahead of time about our mantras before we dove into creative. And so I encourage you at any time to pop your mantra into the chat and share it so that we can celebrate you. Or if you are here at the beginning and it starts to become clear as we go along, then feel free to share that at any time. So I think when we're willing to share it out loud with others, it also helps to activate it a little bit more. We take ownership of it when we say it out loud. We increase our level of commitment. Say it out loud to yourself, share it with others. Nice thing about working on this canvas, I am present in the moment. Oh, that's a great one. That is a fabulous one. I am present in the moment. And that's a great one to repeat to yourself when you're being distracted by kids and work and sitting in meetings, or find yourself, stuck on the sofa watching TV like I do. I am present in the moment. Beautiful. So I'm liking that I can see some of these darker colors under here. So I'm going to hit this with a dryer and then I'm going to come in with some of that magenta, because if I put that magenta over the top of this, I don't want to create mud. I want to have some distinct separate colors. And I am painting all the way up to the edge because that's easiest to do, is to paint the whole piece here. But I'm going to be mindful when I start to get into details that I don't need to do that. I am creativity. Amen, Terry. Oh my gosh. I am creativity. Feel the energy of that. Not I am creative. Not I am an artist, but I am creativity. It means you're oozing it in every area of your life. Love, love, love. These are super wet. It's going to take me a minute to get these dry. That's the challenge of doing this live. You get to bear with me through the whole process here. Okay, they're dry-ish. So one of the things I was playing with my gel press, so this was a cleanup plate piece of paper that I was cleaning up my jelly plate with yesterday, and then tried to run through my printer with one of my son Connor's Sacred Circle designs on it, over the top of the pink, and it did not like going through the printer twice. So it's just going to become a nice piece of scratch paper. And a fun way to just pick up some of that extra paint is to just blot that off. It's a different, if you don't, especially if you don't have a craft dryer or a hair dryer, you can just blot that paint onto some scratch paper and look how gorgeous. Yes, borrowing mantras is definitely a good thing to do. It's the benefit of working in community like that. So I love that, Judy. Group think. So this is becoming more and more fun, and you can see even after drying it how wet that paint was. And I'm gonna have some fun putting some of this lovely pink collage paper on these as well. Just trying to get some of that extra paint off before we get in there with the magenta. Okay, and I'm wishing my table was a little bigger. So this is the kind of stuff that makes me so happy. Now I have this gorgeous piece of collage paper. And you know, there was a few years ago, I can't remember, it's been 4 or 5 years ago, we were still living in Goleta, California at the time. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard this story. And I had, much like I have now, I had an office, or I had a room. It was a big family room that I had taken over that was half office and half art studio. And my easel was kind of sitting right in the middle of the room in front of my desk. And I was standing in the afternoon, giving myself permission to take a little time to just paint in the middle of the day, which was a hard thing for me to do because I am definitely a bit of a workaholic. So I'm just coming in now and adding some of that magenta. I can still see where it's mixing. So I'm sort of dabbing it on instead of smushing it in there. And I was looking at my easel and it popped into my head the curious question, what would happen if I put art at the center of my life? And at the time, I was still working as a business coach, had a wonderful, wonderful business coaching community that I loved, and I wasn't even sure what that meant. But one of the things it meant was shifting how I structured my days. And it meant putting art first. One of my painful stories around how much I tend to work is that when I first started painting, I would leave it for the weekends. And then I would want to paint all weekend from the time I got up till the time I went to bed. I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. And my daughter walked into my studio one day and she said, "Mom, you painting is just like you working." And when your kids say things like that to you, there's she was right. It was true. And it really cut me to the quick. And it helped me to make this shift to this idea of what if I put art at the center of my life? It not only ended up completely changing my business, but changing how I looked at time, how I ended up shifting and giving my creative work the best of my creative time, which is early in the morning. Those of you that know me know I'm a very, very early riser. I am usually up at 5:30. I was pretty happy I slept till 6 this morning. And it meant that rather than getting up and either wasting time in the morning and doing nothing, that I went straight to one of my morning preferred activities that are for me about soul care. And those are writing, painting, and reading. And so for the last 5 years, I've had a very, very consistent morning routine that involves some version of, usually I read a little bit, then I do some journaling, then I turn to art. If I'm working on a bigger painting, I tend to get a little obsessive, and so I'll spend a couple of hours in the morning painting while drinking copious cups of coffee. And then from there, I love to get outside and go for a walk or go to the gym with my husband. And I still get just as much done, but I feel so much better about all of it. I feel so much better about all of it. And I hear people say all the time, "Thank you, Kathy." I hear people say all the time, "I don't have time for art. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that." And we do have the time, but we also need, as Carr, no, it wasn't Carr, it was Polly that said we need both feet. We need to be all in. And when we prioritize what makes us feel the best, this is why we're thinking about these mantras and how we want to feel. When we lean into the energy of that, then we make the time. We get up a little bit earlier, or we take an extra half an hour in the evening before bed, depending on when you like to work. Okay, so I'm happy with how these are coming along. I've got lots of messy, happy color. I'm really loving the yellow that's peeking through. I don't want these to get too dark because these are all about light. And so that was why I picked, this is my absolute all-time favorite yellow, is this Azo Yellow Deep from Amsterdam. Art is therapeutic. Amen. In so many different ways. And early last year, I read, so I'm going to get some more of this yellow down on here, and I'm going to put it on pretty thick because I want it to stand out. And so I'm just going to do that with my fingers. I read a book, maybe some of you have read it as well, called Your Brain on Art. And I have never been so happy. Like I'm a voracious reader. And what I loved about this book is that it proved with science and psychology everything that I know to be true about why we need to make art and why we need to prioritize time for making art, because art is as essential. Oh, yay, Nikki. You'll love it. It's so good. Making art is as essential to our well-being. Or I won't say making art. I'm going to say creativity, and I'll say more about that, is as essential to our well-being as eating healthy foods and regularly exercising. And they talk in the book about making art being one version of that, that is therapeutic and mindful and healing and all the things. Music, dance, photography. So engaging in creative expression is normal, natural, and innate for all human beings. And yet we've often been taught that it is selfish. It doesn't have value. Why waste your time if you can't make money doing it? This country has really lost our ability to engage in hobbies. I think a lot because we have so much access to entertainment that we're not spending time doing things that are more meaningful to us. I'm getting on my soapbox a little. But they also talk in the book how beneficial it is to look at art, to go to a museum, to go to a play, to listen to music. And another book that I have started reading but I haven't finished is by Gretchen Rubin, who I love. And she has a book that's about your five senses. And she decided to do a sensory experiment for a year and to engage all of her senses. And she lives very near the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. So every day that she was home in New York City, she would walk to the Met, sometimes for, 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes for an hour, and really look and listen and pay attention. And I thought that was another powerful way to really engage in creativity, as a feast for the eyes or a feast for the ears. Walking in nature and looking at the colors and the textures and the patterns, all different ways to engage in creativity. So we often think that creativity is about making art, but it's not. The true definition of creativity is actually more about innovation and problem solving. And so think of all the ways that you get to be creative in your life. There are many, many of them outside of simply making art. Art happens to be my preferred expression of creativity. I would say art and writing. I love to write as well. Okay, so these are making me super, super happy. So where I'm going to go next after I have these swatches of paint is I want to do a little stenciling over the top of these. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do some collage first or some stenciling first, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of stamping or stenciling. So if you have some stamps or stencils sitting around, if you're working with watercolor or if crayons or markers or whatever it is that you're working on, what I would encourage you to do is maybe add some collage over the top of what you've created so far. I am going to add some collage elements, but first I want to create more contrast in what I've created here, and I'm going to do that by adding some black and some white, and I'm going to do that with some stamps and some stencils. Heidi, I love that, right? Like we don't prioritize our own time. We prioritize other people's time. Yes, and there can be a blend, right? It's both and. I think where our thinking tends to go is that it's either or as opposed to I'm looking for my tube of black paint, which I thought I'd gotten out. There it is. And instead think about both and. If you give yourself a half hour of creative time first and then go help your hubby for a half hour, it makes more sense. Oh, I love that car. I hadn't thought about, and I say that all the time, right? I'm a big fan of the and, right? It's not either or, it's always and. I hadn't thought about using that ampersand as a symbol. I might have to make some of those. So this is my little handmade spiral here. Again, really feeling into the spiral as a sacred symbol for the year. And why the spiral? Because I think it's about for me, it's about that energy is always moving, and I can be spiraling inward for deeper self reflection, or I can be spiraling outward and sharing my light and energy with the world. So it felt like an appropriate symbol. Yay, Galita, you went to UCSB. Go Gauchos. I love that, Anne. Love it, love it. We loved living there. It was such a beautiful, beautiful place to live. And we're loving being here in Loveland, Colorado, about an hour north of Denver on the edge of the plains, very close. We're about 45 minutes away from Rocky Mountain National Park, which talk about what a treasure to be so near to Rocky Mountain National Park. So notice how I'm stamping across all five of my prayer flags because I want all of them to have similar energy and feel. Again, I want them to, I'm thinking maybe I missed a little bit of paper on there. We'll figure that out. UC Riverside, love it. Carol, I think that's such a great question. And Kathy, you have a daughter in Colorado Springs. We're a couple of hours from the Springs. It's another beautiful place in Colorado to live. So Carol asked a great question. Does it muddy up the effectiveness of the mantra and prayer flag to have more than one? And I would say no, not at all. So if you're feeling the need to have maybe one main one, and when I look at your themes, creativity, healthy eating, exercise, sleep, etc., right? What popped into my head was I take exquisite care of myself, right? And so maybe there's one mantra that is the main one, and then you have other flags, as many as you need, that represent those different prayers or states of being. So absolutely, each flag could represent something different. So this is your mantra. This is your string of flags. You can't get this wrong. You can't get this wrong. All right. And so we're going to, when we start to move these around, we're going to see what happens Already they're feeling good with a little bit of that black energy on there. I'm wanting some more black, and so I'm looking for something that maybe has a little bit smaller marks. So these are really big, bold marks. So now I want to maybe get some little bit subtler marks down on the page. So I'm looking to see what I have. I have some fun masks here. Interesting, all the stencils that I pulled out all had kind of bigger words on, or bigger marks on them. So this was a stencil I created for a workshop that I did last year with my friend Andrea Shebelu. I love these little mandalas that are some of my son Connor's designs from our Sacred Circles membership. And when you're using stencils, remember you don't have to use the whole stencil, just use little bits and pieces of things. Like I love all those little circles in there. Okay, so feels like I've got a lot going on there. Oh, it's such a small world that two of you have family in Colorado Springs. I love it. I'm also feeling like I want some of these feathers on here because when I think about all the ways I am light as a feather. When I think about I am light as a feather, it makes me think of I am light in my thoughts. Like it doesn't have to specifically be about, being light on my feet. I am light of spirit. I am light of heart. So I love that imagery of kind of I am light as a feather. And a lot of this is going to get covered up. So I'm putting, and your son is in Denver. I love it. Anne, where do you live? Get some of that paint off the back of here. And I'm starting the new year in my absolutely favorite place with painty hands in my pajamas. I couldn't be starting my new year in a better, more typical place for me. I love makeup sponges for stamping and stenciling, but the sponges themselves also make great marks. And it's a great way to just use up some of the ink on the page as well. Northern California, awesome. You're going to be in Denver this week. I love it. Formerly LA. Big difference between Northern California. What part of Northern California? Anne, my husband and I met 30 years ago in the Bay Area, and then we lived way up in Redding for a few years as well. And then we lived in Santa Barbara, so we kind of lived all over California as well. Okay, so these are feeling really happy and they need to get a little bit dry. And then I am going to get some white paint down over them and paint out some of what's going on to sort of calm all this down and start to kind of look at where do I want to go next with this. 20 miles from Roseville. Okay, awesome. Carol's in Eastern Washington State. Beautiful. I love it. All right, so it's going to take me a few minutes to get these nice and dry. They're super, super wet. So I'd love to hear what color palettes have you chosen to illustrate your mantras? What colors are you working with today? Because color adds energy and emotion and mood to our artwork as well, right? So color is a powerful tool for a visual feast of the eyes, for energy and for communicating emotion. So what color palettes are you using? So fun and a lot of commonalities as well. So we have hot pink, emerald green, bright coral and yellow, beautiful magenta, teal and purple, orange, teal and yellow. That's a juicy combo, Judy. Yellow oxide, turquoise and violet. Ooh, Kathy, great combo. Yellow aqua vermilion and Prussian blue. Love it. Yellow, red, pink, purple, and blue. Like you got the whole rainbow, Barbara. Blue, green, violet, magenta, and a splash of yellow. Awesome, Carol. It's all good. So you can just listen along and clean up your studio as you go as well. All right. I've been having to clean up over the last couple of days because my art table was a mess from our December project. Here on Painting in Your PJs, I created my first circle journal, which was super, super fun. I'm thinking maybe I want to get in a couple of these masks as well. Okay, so I'm just kind of sitting here looking, taking a minute to back up and pause, and I'm going to do some paint over everything. Thank you, Carol. You love teal, purple, and gold, like metallic gold. That's a gorgeous combo, or like a rich yellow gold. I love purple and yellow together. I was so happy with my circle journal. That was a really fun project. I definitely see myself doing more projects like that, and I'm still deciding what I want the January project to be. Metallic gold. I love it. Okay, here we go. We're just gonna paint over a lot of this, start to push it to the background, calm it all down a little bit. And remember, as we're here at the new year, this is a great example of I'm letting go of any attachment. I'm just being present right here in the moment with what is. I'm calming down the chaos. And one of the things to think about as you're designing and creating your prayer flags is this idea of all the layers of you. Each of these layers that you've watched me put on has been a color, a symbol, the words. So there's been a lot of intentionality in each of these layers, even though it looks very abstract and like not a lot of method to my madness. There actually is a method to my madness. And I'm not trying to cover up everything. And brayers on canvas do different things. I need to tighten up my brayer there. I'm not worrying if I get paint on the back. No one's going to see that. Okay, so they're still feeling a little chaotic and messy, but that feels like enough white for the moment. And I think I'm going to come in with some collage elements on here and start to think about, where am I going with these and what do I want those kind of final images to look like. I want to kind of maybe, I've got some hard edges here. Maybe I want to soften that up a little bit. I have decided that I love working on raw canvas, especially for larger pieces. I love the flexibility of it. I also have a bunch of canvas that a friend gave me that I'm painting my way through slowly. And I'm also repainting a couple of paintings. I had a couple of paintings hanging in my studio that, I wasn't 100% happy with. And I liked the subject matter. So one of them was an owl. And so I'm repainting the whole thing. So I often paint over and over and over the same canvas until the final painting appears and sticks. And life is kind of like that, right? We have the opportunity at any point in time to paint over things and go again. And the thing about painting over is that it doesn't obliterate or erase everything that came before. It just adds a new layer of shine. In fact, one of my girlfriends was here visiting, and I'm getting closer to writing my fourth book. And she says it needs to be called Everything is Paint Overable because I say that all the time in my art classes. Both, Carol. Great question. Carol asked, where do I get raw canvas? Is that from the fabric shop by the yard or Art Canvas? I think actually this one is some scraps from a big piece of it that we got by the yard at Joann's Fabric. I've also ordered big rolls of it from Dick Blick online. And you can get primed or unprimed. And if you get unprimed, it needs to be gessoed first before you use it. But Joann's had nice big rolls of primed canvas that you could buy by the yard. You can also even just look on Amazon and get small amounts of it on Amazon too. I found that Joann's prices were good. Dick Blick's prices were great. Okay, I think I want to get some scrappy collage bits down and add another layer to all of this. I want to start to build up some texture on these. They're still feeling busy, but it's going to be okay in the end. And I'm thinking I'm going to use some of this pretty piece of paper. So for me, if I think about, why do I add the layers of collage? Color, texture, the ultimate look when you have all of these pieces put together, there ends up being something magical about it all. And I'm still trying to use some collage elements. Yes, canvas drop cloths at Home Depot. I have some of those that I've used as well. Those can be great, and you can just add gesso to them and use them. Yep. Depends on the project. If I have, a big project that I'm doing, I do like the primed actual canvas because the texture of it is much smoother than anything that I can create. I coffee dyed some little tea bags that my mom gave me, so I might stick some of those in there. This little heart has been floating around. I think she's definitely going to be on one of my prayer flags as a final image because I love the look on her face. It looks like she's striding forward, so I pulled her out. I love these little birdies as well. But right now I think I'm just looking for some abstract. Get some of these gel printed trees on here. And I love just taking my time to kind of layer up all the bits and pieces, and then I will come back at the end and glue those down. So I'm just going to tear up this little tea bag here. Again, it just adds that little bit of transparency and texture. They're slightly opaque, plus they smell like coffee. I have to hide these from my cats. I don't know why my cats like coffee, maybe just because they are my cats. And if I leave anything with coffee on it lying around, including an empty coffee cup, then they will lick it to get the coffee. And it cannot be good for them. So I love this is kind of fun to just create some little soft spots in here. Get one more of those. If you've never dyed anything with coffee or tea, it's a fun activity to kind of grunge up papers. You can do fabric or book pages, and you just get some instant coffee and make it pretty strong and let things, like I let these sit for probably a couple of hours in a bowl of coffee. All right, what else I got here? So I have some music. Always feels fun to include. I think music is something for me that has a lot to do with how I'm feeling, can help explore moods. And so music to me adds to that energy of lightness that I'm wanting to incorporate into my pieces here. And you can get a lot of really interesting texture when you're collaging on canvas. So we're going to see what that's going to feel like. And I'm going to remember that I don't need to spend a lot of energy adding collage bits up there to those top couple of inches because those are going to get folded over. Okay, I think I'm going to save that one till a later layer. And notice I'm just putting a little bit of the same things on each of the prayer flags. Again, I'm looking to create that sort of symmetrical story that goes throughout all 5 of my flags. I ended up with a bigger flag in the center, which I'm really liking. And then for me, there definitely needs to be some words as well. What else I got here? So I just pulled out a stack of things that I thought felt related, and I knew that I would have more than I needed. So I really like those flowers. They feel like light, so those may go on at a later layer. Loved the little lavender sprigs that reminded me of nature. I loved this lady from a Gudrun Sodrun catalog. It has the best images and people for collaging. And so really like she just feels she's so radiant, right? I love her. So she may end up somewhere. Loved this little quirky figure as well. Butterflies. I always have butterflies. Animals. What else we got here? Okay. Don't need any of that now, but I definitely want some words. And I loved this. These are old highlights magazines that somebody was giving away at our little library, and so I snagged them. A lot of them are written and colored in. Remember highlights from when you were a kid? Like I remember always seeing them when we went to the doctor's office. And I was thinking about light and how this lightness of heart. I used to love to play in the rain and play in puddles as a kid. So really love this image. I don't know if it's for this project, but as I'm present here to I don't want to lose that image. And I love these old sort of yellowed pages. So how's everyone coming along with your prayer flags and your mantras? Does anybody have any questions? Are you making progress? Are you just kind of watching along this morning? And I'd love to hear, what are you excited about for the coming year? What are you excited about for the coming year? You have travel plans or goals or dreams. My daughter graduates from university this year. It's a big year for us. Still painting. Awesome. Take your time. You do not need to go at my own pace, at my pace, right? Go at your own pace. Grab another sip of water here. And I love working in a series like this where they're all the same and we can learn a lot about looking at the different ways that we put things and place things. So working in a series is one of the things that will help you to cultivate your own style. Put your first layers of paint and stencil stamps on them, waiting for them to dry. Awesome. New grandson, yay! How many does that make, Tori? 2 cruises, amazing! And hopefully you're going to come back to Estes Park this summer as well. Is anybody looking at the work they're doing and starting to feel their inner critic creep in or that little bit of judgment come in? Okay, so I'm going to come in now with art retreats. Yay! So Judy and I get to meet in person in Massachusetts in May. Love it. Love it. That's a lot of grandchildren. Amazing. Oops, my matte medium is all stopped up. Bear with me for just a second. Right, Sylvia? That was me as well. I love painting on canvas. And I'm going to put matte medium down on both sides of my images because I want them sealed down on here really well. And I might have to go get another new jar of matte medium. Two trips to Disney. Love it. Barbara says, having fun going through Collage Box, finding many things I collected. Right? Isn't that amazing that when you start to see that the things you've already collected were leading you there? Kathy, I am teaching at the Handmade Book Club retreat. I was super honored to be invited by Ali to be one of the instructors for this event. So super excited to go. And excited to meet a bunch of people in person that I only know online. Japan, amazing. And Pat, are you going to speak or just to travel with hubby or friends? We don't have any out-of-country travel planned, but we're going to Miami in April. We're going to attend a conference and then stay and play for a couple of days for our anniversary. And then Massachusetts in April, at least a couple of trips to Eugene, Oregon. Got a fun girls' weekend in Oregon, so the year's already feeling full, plus hosting my own retreats. My first retreat is going to be the first weekend in June here in my studio. Holiday, big birthday approaching. Is this the big 7-0, Pat? So I'm going to be 59 in a week or so. And so my brother is trying to convince me that next Christmas time we should take a big trip somewhere to celebrate my 60th. And I would love to go back to Costa Rica or maybe New Zealand. And I'm using my fingers to do this, even though I know I'll be trying to get matte medium off my fingers for the rest of the day. Usually I use like a Starbucks gift card or the Catalyst wedge. That's exciting, Pat. When is your birthday? What time of year is your birthday? Make sure we celebrate that. Tori, that's hilarious. Your Medicare birthday. I remember it's definitely financially a big deal for my parents when they hit that stage. Again, I'm using a lot of matte medium both on top of and underneath these images for a couple of reasons. If you're new to this kind of mixed media art, what the matte medium does is it's going to seal the surface of these and make them very easy to paint over the top of. So that one has a piece of string in it. It feels like it's a little too. And I love painting on a really flat surface, so I'm doing everything I can to get these down, make sure they're not buckled. Hi, Blanca. Good morning. Good morning. You're already working today on a she shed. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Congratulations. Hopefully, you'll post pictures on Instagram once you have it done. That would be so fun to see. Okay, this one feels like it needs just a little bit of that green down here. And a lot of times I'll create over the edge. Pat, I don't know what the Takayama festival is, but that sounds amazing. I'll just let my collage hang over the edge of a piece and trim it later so that I don't get caught. Like it takes me out of that intuitive just process and slows me down. So I will just let things hang over and then go back and trim them later. So once they're dry, I do. And it's funny you said that, Judy, because Judy asked if I use embroidery thread in my collage work. I love slow stitching. And in fact, I was practicing slow stitching on a tea bag the other day. That's actually almost kind of the right colors. And I was also looking at these thinking it would be fun to just go around the edges of the whole piece with the sewing machine. But I can easily see me taking these upstairs, sitting in front of the TV for a little while and adding some marks with thread as well. But yes, I love slow stitching. Okay, this one doesn't have any green on it either. Thinking, thinking, thinking. So when my mom was here for Christmas, which was really fun, they got a foot of snow up in Estes Park 2 days, like the Saturday before Christmas. So they came down and stayed in a hotel that's literally like 2 minutes from my house. And she showed up with this huge bag, and there must have been a couple of hundred like empty tea bags that had never been used before for making your own tea. And I already have a bunch for that. As much as I love coffee, I do love tea as well. And my first thought was not, oh, great, I can make more tea. My first thought was, oh, what can I do with these in the studio? So I've done some stitching on them, which was fun. And I have coffee dyed some. I colored some with markers and then put them in pages using matte medium, and the markers became water soluble and created this really cool watercolor effect. So nothing is safe in my house from the art studio. All right, so this one definitely needs a little bit of that green on it as well. It's amazing how much the look of these is changing by adding the collage elements. I'm not losing the layers underneath, I'm just adding to them. I'm adding to the richness of the story here. All right, let's see if we can salvage a little bit of green from this one here. I even decided this year for Christmas that I bought a big roll of butcher paper and we wrapped all our packages in butcher paper. I hate throwing away all the tons of wrapping paper, and I'm not my grandmother. I don't save every little bit of wrapping paper and bow. And so I got a roll of butcher paper, wrapped everything in butcher paper and beautiful ribbon and twine and, some handmade cards. But then I saved all this lovely butcher paper to make a journal out of, and I've been wanting to get it all out and do some gel printing on the pages. I love gel printing, but it always feels like one of those things that, I want to do a lot of. Are there other people here? So I know Judy is going to the Handmade Book Club retreat, right, Judy? Is there anyone else here who's going to Allie's Handmade Book Club retreat? I actually just joined the Handmade Book Club. I've known Allie forever, but I'm just realizing how much I love making books and I'm excited to dive in. It's a little daunting, so I'm trying to figure out where to dive in, but I love the binding. Nikki, I saw. Haha, you're my grandmother. You saved a lot of paper. I love that. Nikki, I saw that I think it was you, Nikki, did you post the December project? Somebody posted their version of the December project, and I definitely want to do that one. Kathy's been a member for over a year. Yeah, they're really coming together, Libby. Thank you. No, it wasn't you. Okay. Can't remember who it was. Awesome. I love it. Love it, Judy. Yeah, I'm brand new too. I haven't attended. And well, good, Barbara. I haven't attended anything live in the book club yet either. Barbara is saying that she's working on her flags and they don't look anything like mine. Well, that's the point. And if you know me at all, you know that I am not about make what I make. I'm about here's some prompts, make your own thing. So you don't need art that looks like me. You need art that looks and feels like you. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how these are coming along. You joined a year and a half ago, Judy. Awesome. Right, that's where you found me. Yep, when I did I think when I taught last year, right, for Allie, I taught a Word of the Year workshop for Allie's community last January. Okay, I'm definitely seeing I'm probably going to want to add some sewing machine stitches all the way around to just kind of seal in the edges. But now, Judy, you have me thinking about coming in with some slow stitching in these as well. So I'm loving these little bits of collage on here. Okay, still got some of those. Almost done with our collage bits. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you all today is to share about our Sacred Circles membership. We have actually several of our members are here with us today. So our Sacred Circles membership is a monthly membership focused on coloring and Zentangle. And the designs are all created by my son Connor. You got one of them in the workbook, one of his gorgeous sort of Celtic knot inspired designs. And he and I started this membership just over a year ago. We started coloring mandalas together when he was a kid, both him and my daughter and I. Well, of course, I got a coloring book for me, and then they wanted to color with me. And this was before I had started painting or even before I had found Zentangle. I happened to stumble across this gorgeous book about mandalas in Barnes and Noble. And we would sit and color together. And then when he was in high school, he started designing them. I have been using mandala designs even in my business coaching for about 12 years. And so he started designing them for me in high school. And then we wanted to be able to share them with more people. So we started a membership. We have 3 live classes every month where we color, we talk about tools and techniques, and we create one that is Zentangle inspired. Thank you, Tori. I love having you there. And for me, it's one of those practices that even though I love painting, thank you, Judy. Thank you, thank you. So Tori says she loves the membership. Judy says Sacred Circles is my meditative me time. It's so calming. I've learned so much since joining the membership. All right, I'm just taking a second here to let those dry and clean some of that matte medium off my fingertips. And I have so many creative interests and projects, but for the last 15 years, coloring the Sacred Circle designs or adding Zentangle patterns to them. I've been a certified Zentangle teacher since 2014 and started practicing way back in 2010. And it's one of those practices that has never left. I've tried so many different creative activities. In fact, I was in Old Navy yesterday, and the woman at the checkout counter, on her name tag, it said that she loved art and she loves pouring with acrylics. And I'm like, nope, no more crazy creative habits. Like if it doesn't fit into my Sacred Circle practice or my mixed media practice, I'm learning to say no. Because I end up, trying something and buying all the supplies and then never doing it again. So we designed Sacred Circles as a place to bring people together in community for mindful coloring. Each of our Sacred Circle designs has a gorgeous affirmation on it to help us stay present in the moment. I'm just coming back and cutting off the little layered bits. I think Kay Veal, if you're still here, Kay was our very first member. I think she also found me through Allie Manning's community. Okay, so yes, it'll be as soon as we're done, Blanca, it'll be here on YouTube forever. If you just click on that live tab, it will definitely be here. And we created sacred circles as a way to share our passion for working with the energy of the sacred circle or mandala, because we both have benefited so much from the practice and the process. All right, I'm going to start to bring in some more intentional images here in these upper layers. So, Tori, do you mean like a 8 week or 6 week kind of intro to Zentangle type class, or a monthly class? I have not thought about that for this year, but if there's enough interest, I'm always open to adding a class. Okay, I'm loving this little pop of the lavender and these little brighter pops of color. Tori, send me an email with some ideas about what you would want to see from that class, how long you would want it to be, that kind of thing, and I'll put some thought into it. And see if I have some room in our calendar for that. We kind of have our marketing calendar figured out for this year. Okay, so I'm at the point where I definitely want to maybe fold the tops of these down so that I can see where I need to not waste time on images. And Tori, I have so many friends who offer amazing Zentangle workshops like that online. If I decide that there's just no way that I can fit that in, I will send you some links to a couple of my favorite teachers who have a variety of programs. Apparently I can't fussy cut and talk at the same time. I love that these little birdies look like common birds that we actually see here in Colorado. This little sweet little myrtle warbler. And I'm starting to think about the words that I'm going to want on here as well. And am I going to handwrite those? Am I going to print them out and glue them on? Really loving this bright pop of yellow. And so it's making me look at these with fresh eyes and see where I want to add more pops of that bright yellow on there as well. And in your workbooks, I included, as I said, one of Connor's gorgeous designs. And I'm thinking I want at least some parts of this to go on the big design in the center. I printed this on tracing paper. I like to print it on vellum, but I couldn't find my vellum. So it has a little bit of transparency, or maybe even I'm just going to cut out this piece in the center to collage onto here. And I love using bits and pieces of these in my collage work. And so to kick off the year, we're offering a big special on our Sacred Circles membership. It's normally $165 for the year, but right now it's $99 for a full year's membership or $15 a month. And it's one of my most favorite things that I get to do every single month. And it's such a great, simple way to incorporate more creativity into your life and days. And I'm loving this because I think that word light, I am light, needs to be right smack in the center of this design. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to look at these individually and start to think about what aspect of I am light does each of the flags capture. So this one in the center needs to simply be I am light, but I'm thinking this one is going to be light-hearted. I'm thinking, I'm not sure. So I'm going to think about these. Pat, they're all on Thursdays, and we have one on the third Thursday of the month that's at 9 a.m. Pacific. So we have one that's European friendly time. So I think 9 a.m. Pacific is what, about 4 or 5 p.m. at your time. The others are in the probably too late in the evening for you. But we offer them in a couple of different time zones, but all our calls are on Thursdays. And everything is recorded, but being able to attend at least one call a month is what we recommend. Judy had asked about slow stitching, and I have some of these little sweet circles that I spent some time slow stitching that maybe kind of feel like that one's the right colors to maybe show up here. And I'm going to go grab my link real quick to that Sacred Circles membership. And you guys can take a look, and then I will also make sure that you have the link. The coupon code is gratitude23, gratitude23. Trying to do too many things at once here. Okay. So there's the link directly to the membership if anybody wants to go check that out. And then the coupon code is gratitude23. Me too, Judy. Great idea. And I forgot I had pulled that out and it was kind of just floating around on my desk here. So I always hit a point in my art where I know that I need to pause and think about it. And I'm also feeling like I need to move these out of the way and give each one a little bit of attention. So I might not finish these in our 2 hours together today, but what I will do is be able to have a really good start on them and an idea of where I'm going, because this is where I get to have this become one of my favorite parts, is these final details of mark making and adding details. I want to make sure that I left enough there to stitch. So to stitch these up, I would just take a needle and thread and do a quick running stitch across it would be one way to do it. You could do it on a sewing machine. I wouldn't do that until it was completely dry because otherwise I would gum up my sewing machine. But you could also Make sure that's squared up there. It looks like my fabric isn't straight, which is fine. You could also just use some double stick tape on the back because these aren't heavy. Double stick tape would be work just as well if you didn't have any way to stitch them up. Okay, so I'm going to get these flowers down on here. I'm going to keep going with my matte medium. Again, I can see where I'm loving this pop of yellow, and I'm going to want to come back and add even more of that. I think those look like maybe they're dahlias on there. I'm not sure what flower it is, but they are so light and bright. And if anybody has any other questions about the Sacred Circles membership, feel free to type those into the chat or reach out to me directly by email. And again, I'm putting that matte medium underneath and over the top to make sure that we really get those adhered. And my son is working on a special bonus for all current members of some unique winter themed snowflake designs, which I can't wait to see. I haven't seen them yet. So he got a new job and he moved in December. So he's a little bit behind on his end of year gift to everybody. So if you join in the next few days, we will send you in the mail some of these gorgeous Sacred Circle designs. We don't mail them out very often anymore. So any existing members or new members will get those special designs. So I love that tissue paper. When I added that on there, you can see how transparent it is and it's picking up all the color behind. But I want more of this bright yellow, so I'm going to go ahead and add some yellow over the top of that. That yellow is pretty transparent, so I should be able to still see those designs underneath. And I'm thinking again back to my mantra of I am light, wanting to bring back even more of the lightness. I'm going to do that on this one using just that paint that I have on my brush. You like the mini ones, Margaret? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I loved when Connor started adding the mini ones. Yes, Judy, I will. I will post them on Instagram, the finished prayer flags, and I will also post them here in a post on YouTube as well. They're going to be close to done, except for maybe adding a little bit of the final stitching. Oh, I love that. You're using the mini circles for on your flags and the affirmations on the back. That is so smart, Margaret. Genius, genius. You guys always have the best ideas. That's the most fun about creating in community in this way, is being able to see what others create and we all can get inspired. And if you want to share your prayer flags, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I'm at Dr. Minette Riordan on Instagram. And you can share them there and just tag me and use the hashtag New Year's Mantra or New Year's Prayer Flags would be a great way to do that. All right, that's a little glary. Interesting. So this looks almost like a flower vase here. So on Instagram, I'm at Dr. Minette Riordan is my Instagram, and we can use hashtag New Year's prayer flags as the hashtag. I'll get that started today and get mine posted up there. So when we start to do the collage and we start to see things come together, um, there's this big flower, almost as if it's sitting in a flower vase here. Happy New Year's to you too, Judy. So I might draw in. So this is what I love about water soluble pencils or crayons, is that we can add some details, and then if we don't like them we can wash them away, but it kind of feels like I could draw a little vase on here, and then also maybe add a little shading and dimension to the edge of our flower. So this again is for me the most fun part of the process, is the sort of fine tuning and the playful mark making and energy. So definitely going to want to come back in here to this one. Let's see. I can see where it's going to need some mark making. All right, and I'm trying to rush things because it's getting to the end of our 2 hours, and this is way too wet to add final details. So I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. Please, if your day ahead is full and busy, know that you can always come back and catch the recording anytime. And I'm going to linger for a little while. That's why I said this would be 2-ish hours. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. We've had so many new people subscribe lately. It's been really fun and delightful. And still working out details for my 2024 live schedule, but for sure I will be live Tuesday and Thursday mornings. You're most welcome, Kathy. I will be live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, so exactly at this same time. And tomorrow, someone had asked me on one of last week's videos about, do I create a vision board? And I do create a vision board, but I have a very different way of creating a vision board. And so I think tomorrow morning's episode, that won't be the theme for all of January, but I think tomorrow morning I am going to create a vision board. I've already cut out and selected images, but I want to talk about why you shouldn't put words on your vision board and how words can be limiters and a different way to approach making a vision board. So I will be back here tomorrow morning doing that. And of course, the replay will stay on YouTube. So I'm definitely wanting to come in with my Posca markers here and add some more details to this flower. Get a little more color. This is what I love about printing these sacred circle designs out on transparent paper, or even just on regular paper, and then adding the matte medium to them, is then being able to come back and add the color and detail over the top of them. And I hope, oh, awesome, Carol. Yeah, great. I hope you'll enjoy the one that I selected for you. I think this was one of our, maybe the November designs. And when you do join the Sacred Circles membership, you get access to previous designs and recordings as well. All right, I'm liking that little pop of bright pink on there. It's kind of hard to see while it's wet. It's definitely a little bit glary, but it's fun to add that color. But because I've added that color in one place, I want to go ahead and bring that little bit of light pink into a few other places in my design so it doesn't feel like it's only in that one spot. And I'm going to handwrite in my own handwriting, I am light in the center of that one. And this one's going to be my center prayer flag. Again, it's not done, but I'm having fun going in and looking at these one at a time. Let's see. Figuring out where we want things to go. I love these little pops of purple on here. And we get to play with the order. I painted them all together, but that doesn't mean that they have to stay in the same order. And I'm going to continue the journey of this little bit of pink. So this one is definitely light-hearted. I think the bird over here can be my light as a feather. And a couple of them may not even have words on them. I know, right, Carol? I'm getting hungry too, and I need a second cup of coffee this morning. And I can feel I'm coming to a place where I have been looking at them for too long. And I need to step away from them, take a break. Everything with light, lantern, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Barbara. Thank you so much for being here so often. I so appreciate you. And thanks to everyone that purchased our creative self-care kit this year too. So our creative self-reflection kit. It was a big hit, and I'm very pleased and grateful to everyone that said yes to that. So notice where I had that extra yellow on my paintbrush. And I haven't added the yellow here, so these feel so light and bright, and that yellow is missing. So looking at them all together feels important here as well. But I definitely am feeling like it's time for a creative pause. Thank you, Sylvia. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm gonna take a pause, and I may come back later today. Or I know I'll come back later today, and I'll get them finished up, and then I will probably do another just little short video showing the finished versions and showing what it looks like when they're all hanging as well. But it feels like I'm at a really good stopping place. My voice is getting tired, and I need to step away and take a break. Thank you guys all so much for joining me live. I'm deeply, deeply appreciative of you joining me and gathering. Thank you for everyone that watches the replay as well. And I will record a part 2 of this at some point. But I'm excited to live into I Am Light. Yay, Margaret. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki, enjoy your nap. Today, I'm sure a lot of us are going to need a nap today. So thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much for being here. Michelle, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year also to you, Sylvia. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you guys all online again soon. Thank you, Pat. Happy New Year to you, dear friend. Hi, Sherry. Happy New Year, my dear friend. Happy New Year. Thank you, Kathy. I'll see you inside a Sacred Circle soon. Barbara, see you soon as well. Bye, my friends. Have a beautiful rest of your day and a very happy New Year. My pleasure. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Or Judy, I think, are you in Central Time in Toronto or Eastern Time? So it's either 8 or 9 your time. So 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and we'll be talking about vision boards tomorrow and a different way to create a vision board. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.